In a courtroom drama that has gripped the nation, Sean Diddy Combs' explosive testimony has unraveled a web of secrets, dragging TV icon Steve Harvey into a scandal that threatens to destroy their legacies. What began as a case against Diddy has morphed into a cultural earthquake, exposing alleged backroom deals, hidden wealth, and a shadowy partnership between two of America's most celebrated figures. The courtroom was already electric with anticipation as Sean Diddy Combs, the hip-hop titan whose name had long been synonymous with power and charisma, took the stand. Reporters leaned forward, spectators held their breath, and the weight of a high-profile case hung in the air. But no one, not the prosecutors, not the defense, not the packed gallery, was prepared for the bombshell that followed. When Diddy uttered the name Steve Harvey, a collective gasp rippled through the room, and time seemed to freeze. The Family Feud host, a beloved figure whose face beamed from TV screens and self-help books, was now at the heart of a scandal that would reverberate across the globe. Diddy's confession wasn't about a casual acquaintance or a fleeting collaboration. It was a chilling revelation of a decades-long clandestine relationship, a strategic alliance allegedly built on mutual ambition, hidden agendas, and a shared hunger for influence. According to Diddy, their bond went far beyond the public's view, forged in the shadows of power and privilege. The words hung heavy, each syllable dismantling the carefully curated images both men had spent years perfecting. For Diddy, the music mogul who had conquered industries from records to fashion, it was a crack in his untouchable facade. For Harvey, the everyman turned motivational guru, it was a devastating blow to a brand built on faith and integrity. The judge, visibly startled, paused to let the weight of the moment settle. The silence was deafening, broken only by the frantic scribbling of journalists and the murmurs of disbelief from spectators. Social media erupted almost instantly, hashtags like Diddy Confession and Steve Harvey Scandal trending worldwide within minutes. Fans of both moguls who had idolized their rags-to-riches stories were left reeling. How could two icons, whose empires seemed so distinct, be entangled in something so covert? The revelation was a cultural lightning bolt, exposing not just a partnership, but a web of secrets that threatened to unravel everything. What made the moment so jarring wasn't just the names involved, but the implications. Diddy's testimony hinted at a world where fame was a currency, wielded with precision to maintain control. For Harvey's supporters, it was a betrayal. For skeptics, it was confirmation of long-held suspicions. The courtroom had become more than a legal battleground. It was the epicenter of a cultural earthquake, and the shockwaves were only beginning. Sean Diddy Combs stood as a colossus in the entertainment world, a man whose name was synonymous with ambition, charisma, and unyielding success. From founding Bad Boy Records in the early 1990s, launching the careers of icons like the Notorious B.I.G., to building a sprawling empire that spanned music, fashion, nightlife, and television, Diddy was the epitome of the American dream. His Sean John clothing line redefined celebrity-driven fashion, his Ciroc vodka brand became a staple of luxury, and his reality TV ventures cemented his status as a media mogul. To the world, Diddy was untouchable, a cultural icon whose charm, hustle, and relentless drive made him a symbol of triumph over adversity. Yet, beneath the glitz and glamour, whispers of darker dealings had always shadowed his ascent. Industry insiders spoke in hushed tones about his ruthless business tactics, alleged strong-arm negotiations, and connections to powerful figures in and out of entertainment. These murmurs, often dismissed as envy or rumor, gained chilling weight when Diddy took the stand. His testimony didn't just expose his own secrets. It pointed to a hidden world of influence peddling and power plays, with an unlikely figure at its core: Steve Harvey. The idea that the wholesome TV host, known for his comedic charm and motivational sermons, could be entwined with Diddy's empire stunned observers. Diddy's confession suggested that his success wasn't solely the product of talent and hustle. He hinted at a complex network of backroom deals, strategic alliances, and calculated moves that extended far beyond the recording studio or boardroom. According to his testimony, Harvey was not just a friend, but a key player in this shadowy ecosystem, a partner whose involvement added layers of intrigue to an already explosive narrative. The courtroom buzzed with questions. How had Diddy maintained his untouchable facade for so long? What role did Harvey play in sustaining or expanding this empire? For fans, the revelation was a gut punch. Diddy's carefully crafted image as a self-made mogul began to crack, revealing a man who may have thrived not just on creativity, but on manipulation and control. The whispers of darker dealings were no longer rumors. They were now part of a legal record, threatening to dismantle the legacy of a titan. As the trial unfolded, one question loomed large. Was Diddy's empire built on more than just talent, or was it a house of cards waiting to collapse? Steve Harvey's rise from stand-up comedian to cultural juggernaut was a story of grit, faith, and unrelenting charisma. His empire, spanning The Steve Harvey Show, Family Feud, best-selling books like Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, and motivational speaking tours, rested on a carefully crafted image of morality, family values, and hard-won wisdom. Harvey positioned himself as a beacon of hope, a man who overcame poverty and adversity through discipline and devotion to God. His speeches, laced with humor and heartfelt advice, resonated with millions, earning him a devoted following who saw him as the embodiment of integrity and resilience. To his fans, Harvey was more than a TV host. He was a moral compass, guiding audiences toward better lives with his folksy charm and Christian principles. But Sean Diddy Combs' courtroom confession shattered this pristine facade. Diddy's words painted a starkly different picture. A Steve Harvey who wielded his wholesome image as a shield, concealing his navigation of a shadowy underworld of power and influence. The allegations suggested that behind the rousing sermons and family-friendly persona was a man entangled in strategic alliances, questionable dealings, and a pursuit of control that belied his public teachings. The contrast was jarring. How could the man who preached do right on stages worldwide be implicated in a world of manipulation and secrecy? The courtroom revelations left audiences stunned, grappling with a cognitive dissonance that shook their trust. Social media platforms buzzed with disbelief as fans posted Clive Harvey's motivational talks alongside hashtags like Steve Harvey Exposed. Critics pointed to long-standing rumors, his alleged mistreatment of staff, his cozy relationships with controversial figures, and a lifestyle of opulence that seemed at odds with his everyman persona. Diddy's testimony wasn't just a legal bombshell, it was a cultural gut punch, forcing fans to question whether Harvey's empire was built on authenticity or a meticulously curated lie. The fallout was immediate and visceral. Some defended Harvey, arguing he was a victim of Diddy's desperate attempt to shift blame. Others saw the allegations as confirmation of a double life, a man who preached one thing while living another. As the trial unfolded, the question loomed: could the man who inspired millions with calls for integrity have been orchestrating a decades-long deception? Harvey's legacy, once unassailable, now hung in the balance, teetering on the edge of a scandal that threatened to redefine him forever. Sean Diddy Combs' testimony in the courtroom was not just a revelation. It was a detonation, exposing a hidden alliance with Steve Harvey that sent shockwaves through the entertainment world. According to Diddy, his bond with Harvey was far from the casual camaraderie one might expect between two high-profile figures. Instead, it was a calculated partnership, meticulously crafted to serve mutual ambitions and cement their dominance in their respective spheres. This wasn't a friendship born of shared values or mutual respect. It was an intricate pact allegedly rooted in power, manipulation, and a shared hunger for control. Diddy's words painted a vivid picture of a relationship that operated in the shadows, away from the prying eyes of fans and media. He spoke of secret business ventures, deals struck behind closed doors that leveraged their combined influence to secure lucrative opportunities. These weren't the typical collaborations flaunted in press releases. They were clandestine arrangements, shrouded in secrecy and designed to maximize profit and power. Prosecutors seized on this testimony, alleging that Harvey's involvement went far beyond that of a supportive friend. They pointed to untraceable financial ties, including transactions that flowed through obscure channels, hinting at a deeper, more troubling connection. The courtroom buzzed as Diddy described a network of influence that bound the two men together. This network, he claimed, extended beyond entertainment, touching media, politics, and even philanthropy, where favors were traded like currency. Closed-door meetings, private phone calls, and carefully worded agreements formed the backbone of their alliance. Prosecutors introduced the term pact to describe this arrangement, a word that hung heavy in the air, evoking images of a Faustian bargain. This pact, they argued, wasn't about brotherhood or mutual upliftment. It was about control, with both men allegedly using their public personas to mask their pursuit of unchecked influence. The allegations raised a chilling question. Who was truly pulling the strings? Was Steve Harvey, with his wholesome image and motivational empire, merely a pawn in Diddy's high-stakes game of power? Or was he the mastermind, orchestrating moves from behind his carefully curated facade of faith and family values? The courtroom drama intensified as prosecutors hinted at evidence suggesting Harvey's role was more significant than Diddy's testimony let on. Financial records, they claimed, showed Harvey's fingerprints on deals that aligned suspiciously with Diddy's ventures, suggesting a level of coordination that went beyond coincidence. For the public, this revelation was a betrayal of trust. Harvey's fans, who had bought his books and tuned into his shows for guidance, struggled to reconcile the allegations with the man they admired. Diddy's supporters, meanwhile, wondered if their icon was deflecting blame to save himself. The idea of a pact between these two giants, each a titan in his own right, forced a reckoning with the darker side of celebrity. It suggested that fame and success could be tools for manipulation, wielded to bend industries and individuals to their will. As the trial progressed, the question lingered. Was this partnership a mutually beneficial alliance, or had one man outmaneuvered the other in a game of power and deception? As investigators delved into Sean Diddy Combs' vast financial empire, they uncovered a trail that led straight to Steve Harvey, transforming a case about one mogul into a sprawling expose of hidden wealth and influence. What began as a routine probe into Diddy's business dealings revealed a complex network of financial transactions that raised alarms. Legal analysts dubbed it a financial spider web, with Harvey's name at its core, entangling the TV host in allegations that threatened to dismantle his wholesome image. Prosecutors presented evidence of hidden cash flows moving through a labyrinth of shell companies, many registered in secretive jurisdictions like the Cayman Islands. These entities, far from transparent, appeared designed to obscure the movement of funds. Offshore accounts linked to both Diddy and Harvey held substantial assets, raising questions about their purpose. These weren't merely investments. They suggested a deliberate effort to conceal wealth, possibly to shield it from scrutiny or taxes. The courtroom buzzed as documents revealed transactions tying Harvey to ventures previously thought to be solely Diddy's domain. Legal experts emphasized that this financial web wasn't just about accumulating riches. It was about wielding power. Prosecutors alleged that the funds were used to influence media narratives, with payments traced to outlets that consistently portrayed both men favorably. Other transactions hinted at political connections, with donations to campaigns that aligned with their interests. This suggested a broader strategy, leveraging wealth to shape public perception and secure influence in elite circles. Harvey's involvement, once unthinkable, now seemed central to this scheme. The public's reaction was one of shock and division. Fans who had seen Harvey as a beacon of integrity struggled to reconcile these allegations with his public persona. Critics, however, pointed to the evidence as confirmation of long-standing suspicions about his behind-the-scenes dealings. Social media erupted with debates, some calling the investigation a targeted attack on successful Black figures, others demanding accountability for what they saw as systemic corruption. The financial spiderweb had become a symbol of hidden power, forcing a reckoning with the true cost of celebrity influence. As the trial continued, one question haunted observers. How deep did Steve Harvey's involvement go, and what other secrets lay buried in this intricate network of wealth and control? The courtroom bombshell dropped by Sean Diddy Combs, implicating Steve Harvey in a web of secrecy, unleashed a torrent of public outrage that reverberated across the nation. The fallout was swift and unrelenting as social media platforms, particularly X, became a battleground for conflicting narratives. Within hours, hashtags like Harvey Betrayed and Diddy Exposed surged to global trends, with millions voicing their reactions. Loyal fans of Harvey who had embraced his message of faith, family, and perseverance rallied fiercely in his defense. Steve's a legend who built himself from nothing. Y'all are just tearing down a black icon," one widely shared post declared, capturing the sentiment of those who viewed the scandal as a calculated attack on black achievement. For these supporters, the allegations were a betrayal not just of Harvey, but of the community he represented. Conversely, critics seized on Diddy's testimony as evidence of long-suspected hypocrisy. They argued that Harvey's carefully crafted image as a moral beacon was a facade, hiding a man complicit in shadowy dealings. He preached integrity while playing power games, one viral X thread stated, garnering thousands of likes and retweets. This perspective framed the scandal as a moment of accountability, exposing the contradictions between Harvey's public persona and his alleged actions. The divide wasn't merely about celebrity loyalty. It tapped into deeper societal tensions around race, privilege, and the authenticity of public figures. Outside the courthouse, the drama spilled into the streets, where protests erupted with a fervor that underscored the nation's polarization. Demonstrators clashed, their signs reflecting the raw emotion of the moment. Some held placards quoting Harvey's own words, "Truth will set you free," now turned against him with biting irony. Others waved banners proclaiming "Defend Black Excellence," arguing that the trial was an attempt to dismantle the legacies of two trailblazing black moguls. The chaotic scenes, filled with chants and counter-chants, were broadcast live, amplifying the trial's status as a cultural flashpoint. It had become a referendum on America's obsession with celebrity, forcing a reckoning with the power and influence wielded by its icons. For years, Steve Harvey had been trailed by rumors that chipped away at his everyman image. Allegations of mistreating employees, forging questionable political alliances, and embracing a lavish lifestyle that clashed with his relatable persona had long circulated in industry circles and tabloids. These whispers, often brushed off as the cost of fame, were thrust into the spotlight by Diddy's explosive courtroom confession. What was once speculation now carried the weight of evidence as former colleagues and insiders began sharing stories that painted a troubling portrait of a man who thrived on control. A former producer from The Steve Harvey Show recounted a workplace marked by fear, claiming Harvey's charm vanished behind the scenes. He'd smile for the cameras, then berate staff over minor mistakes, the insider told a major news outlet. Others highlighted his political ties, pointing to meetings with controversial figures that seemed driven by opportunism rather than principle. His visible wealth, private jets, tailored suits, and sprawling properties further fueled skepticism, clashing with the humble roots he often cited in his motivational talks. Diddy's testimony amplified these narratives, suggesting Harvey's involvement in a world of influence and manipulation ran deeper than anyone had imagined. The public grappled with a jarring question. Was Harvey a victim of circumstance, caught in Diddy's legal fallout, or a master of deception who had hidden his true nature behind a wholesome facade? Social media became a stage for this debate, with fans posting old clips of Harvey's sermons on integrity alongside scathing critiques of his alleged duplicity. The stories from insiders, combined with the courtroom revelations, painted a picture of a man who wielded control with precision, both on and off the screen. As the trial pressed on, the whispers of a double life grew louder, threatening to redefine Harvey's legacy as either a misunderstood figure or a calculated architect of illusion. The trial of Sean Diddy Combs, initially focused on his own financial and legal entanglements, transformed into what legal experts called a cultural earthquake, shaking the foundations of America's celebrity worship. What began as a targeted investigation into Diddy's empire ballooned into a sweeping exposé of the hidden machinations of fame, with Steve Harvey emerging as an unexpected central figure. Prosecutors didn't paint Harvey as a mere bystander. They argued he was a key player in a sophisticated network that manipulated fame, faith, and wealth for personal gain. The courtroom, once a sterile space for legal arguments, became a stage for a drama that captivated the nation, each revelation more staggering than the last. Diddy's testimony had already stunned observers by linking his name to Harvey's, but prosecutors took it further, presenting evidence of a system where influence was currency. They alleged that Harvey and Diddy operated within a web of power brokers, using their public personas to mask strategic moves that secured wealth and control. Financial records, communications, and insider accounts pointed to a partnership that leveraged their respective platforms, Diddy's music and nightlife dominance, Harvey's wholesome TV presence, to shape narratives and sway industries. Legal analysts noted the audacity of the scheme. Two men, outwardly distinct in their brands, allegedly collaborated to bend media, politics, and even public perception to their will. The courtroom itself became a theater of high stakes, with each day bringing new bombshells. Prosecutors unveiled documents suggesting Harvey's involvement in steering media coverage, with payments traced to outlets that consistently praised both men. Testimonies from former associates described closed-door meetings where favors were traded like stock options, hinting at a level of coordination that shocked even seasoned observers. The judge, often seen adjusting glasses in disbelief, struggled to maintain order as gasps and murmurs filled the room. For the public, watching live streams or catching updates on X, the trial was less about legal technicalities and more about a reckoning for two icons whose carefully crafted images were unraveling. This cultural earthquake extended beyond the courtroom, sparking debates about the nature of celebrity influence. Commentators on news panels and social media dissected how fame could be weaponized, with Harvey's role as a motivational guru making the allegations particularly jarring. The trial exposed a darker side of the entertainment industry, where public adoration masked private power plays. As Diddy and Harvey faced scrutiny, the public was forced to confront uncomfortable truths about the idols they revered, turning the courtroom into a mirror reflecting America's obsession with its stars. While the legal proceedings against Diddy and Harvey unfolded in the courtroom, a parallel trial was taking place in the court of public opinion, with Steve Harvey's legacy hanging in the balance. For decades, Harvey had been a cultural touchstone. His empire of self-help books, TV shows like Family Feud, and motivational speeches built on a foundation of faith, resilience, and morality. His fans saw him as a guiding light, a man who rose from humble beginnings to inspire millions with messages of hope and integrity. But Diddy's confession, coupled with prosecutors' allegations, cast a shadow over this legacy, leaving fans grappling with a sense of betrayal that cut deep. On X and other platforms, the divide was stark. Supporters posted clips of Harvey's sermons, tearfully defending his character and arguing that he was a victim of a smear campaign orchestrated to dismantle a black icon. Steve's been preaching truth for years. Y'all believe Diddy over him? One viral post read, echoing a sentiment that resonated with those who saw the trial as racially motivated. Yet detractors felt vindicated, pointing to the allegations as proof of Harvey's hypocrisy. His words on morality, once uplifting, now rang hollow to many, repurposed in memes and threads that mocked their irony. "You can't preach do right while playing dirty," one critic tweeted, capturing the growing disillusionment. The scandal sparked a broader conversation about the authenticity of celebrity personas. Harvey's empire, built on relatability and trust, was teetering as former employees and insiders shared stories of his controlling nature and lavish lifestyle, which clashed with his everyman image. The trial became a referendum on the cost of unchecked power, with commentators questioning how celebrities wield influence behind closed doors. Was Harvey's brand a genuine reflection of his values or a carefully constructed facade designed to mask his pursuit of control? The debate raged on talk shows, podcasts, and social media, with each new courtroom revelation fueling the fire. For Harvey, the stakes were existential. His books, shows, and speaking engagements depended on public trust, now eroding under the weight of suspicion. Some predicted his brand could survive if he addressed the allegations with transparency, while others believed Diddy's confession had dealt a fatal blow. The public trial of Steve Harvey wasn't just about his actions. It was about whether the ideals he championed could withstand the scrutiny of a nation questioning the authenticity of its heroes. As the trial of Sean Diddy Combs and the allegations implicating Steve Harvey unfold, the world remains gripped by uncertainty, awaiting answers to questions that could redefine two iconic legacies. Was Steve Harvey merely a victim of Diddy's desperate bid to deflect blame, caught in the crossfire of a legal strategy, or was he the architect of a decades-long deception orchestrating a hidden empire of influence? The courtroom, now a crucible of truth, holds the key to unraveling this enigma, but each revelation only deepens the mystery. What other secrets lie buried in the partnership between these two giants of American culture? Diddy's testimony hinted at a web of clandestine deals and power plays, but the full scope remains obscured. Are there more financial trails, undisclosed alliances, or covert maneuvers waiting to surface? The scandal has already shattered the illusions carefully crafted by both men, Diddy's untouchable mogul persona and Harvey's moral beacon image, leaving fans and critics alike questioning the authenticity of their public facades. The stakes extend beyond the courtroom, as the court of public opinion delivers its own verdict. On X, debates rage. Some view Harvey as a scapegoat, others as a mastermind unmasked. The nation watches, breathless and divided, as protests and social media amplify the cultural divide. This saga has become more than a legal battle. It's a reckoning with celebrity power and the hidden truths behind fame. For now, the world waits, poised on the edge of revelation, as the trial promises to expose whether Harvey and Diddy's empires were built on talent and hustle, or on a foundation of secrets and manipulation. Their fates and the trust of millions hang in the balance.